Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful story from the Quran. It's about a journey, but not for gold or for power. It's a profound quest by a great prophet who's looking for a completely different kind of wisdom, one that's hidden, operating just beyond what we can normally see.
So, who's the one making this incredible vow? It's none other than the Prophet Musa, or Moses. Right away, this one line just sets the whole stage for an epic personal quest. You can just feel the determination here. He's resolved to reach his goal no matter how long it takes, no matter how far he has to go.
So here's how we're going to break down the start of this amazing story. First, we'll look at the prophet's quest itself. Then, we'll see the miraculous sign that pointed the way. After that, we'll meet the mysterious master of hidden knowledge. And finally, we'll get into the covenant of patience, which lays down the rules for everything that follows.
All right, so let's jump right into part one, the quest. You gotta ask yourself, right, what would make a prophet like Musa, someone who spoke directly with God, who led his people out of slavery, what would make him set off on a journey like this? Well, the answer is he was searching for a much, much deeper kind of wisdom.
The destination he's aiming for is called the junction of the two seas. And what's so fascinating about this is that it's not just some spot on a map. It's both a real physical place and this powerful metaphor. It represents that boundary, that edge, where our normal human understanding meets a special, divinely gifted knowledge.
And this is really the key. This wasn't about him just learning more facts. It was a spiritual mission, through and through. Musa was looking for a type of knowledge that was on a whole other level than what he already had. And his journey is this beautiful example of the humility of a true prophet, always a student, always a seeker. His specific goal was to find one particular person, a servant of God who held this unique, hidden wisdom. Like with so many deep spiritual journeys, guidance can show up in the most unexpected ways. For Musa, it's something that seems like a total accident, forgetting their lunch, that turns out to be this huge, divinely guided moment that leads him exactly where he needs to be. Okay, so let's walk through what happened. Musa and his young companion finally get to their destination. They're tired, they rest, and they completely forget about a fish they packed for food. Now get this, it wasn't just a case of, oops, I forgot. The story calls it a divinely permitted lapse, which kind of tells you something bigger is going on. While they're resting, the fish, miraculously, comes alive, slips away and makes a path right into the sea. It's only later, after they've already moved on, that they realize, hey, where's our food?
So his companion is probably a little stressed, thinking they messed up. But Musa has this incredible moment of clarity. He realizes, wait a minute, that weird thing with the fish, that wasn't a mistake. That was the sign we've been looking for. The exact spot where that impossible thing happened is where we're supposed to be. So they immediately turn around and start retracing their steps.
And this is just such a perfect illustration of a huge theme in this story. Divine guidance doesn't always show up like a lightning bolt or a voice from the clouds. Sometimes a setback is actually a signpost. A loss is the very thing that leads you right where you need to go.
So, by literally following their own footprints back to the scene of the miracle, their journey hits its next critical phase. They finally come face to face with the mysterious person they traveled all this way to find.
This person is described in the Quran simply as one of our servants. Now, tradition calls him Khidr, which means the green one. And what's so unique about him isn't that he studied a lot of books. No, he was given two things straight from God, a special mercy and a very unique kind of knowledge, known as ilm al-laduni, which means knowledge that comes directly from the divine source. Okay, this comparison is so important for getting what this whole story is about. On one hand, you have Musa's knowledge. It's the sacred law from Revelation, meant for everyone to see and follow to guide society. But then you have Al-Khidr's knowledge. This is a direct gift. It's hidden, and it's all about understanding the unseen why behind specific events. They don't contradict each other, they're just operating on totally different frequencies. And that's exactly why Musa, the master of the law, is seeking out the master of this hidden wisdom. I mean, just listen to the profound humility in this request. Here you have Musa, a major prophet and the leader of a nation, asking this servant, "May I follow you?" He makes himself the student, the follower, just hoping to learn a little bit of the wisdom his teacher has been given. It's just a beautiful picture of humility in the search for knowledge. And that brings us to the final piece of the setup, the negotiation. Because before this very unique apprenticeship can even begin, some really strict rules have to be laid down. This is the foundation for their entire time together.
Al-Khidr's response is, well, it's incredibly blunt.
He tells Musa straight up, "You will not be able to have patience with me." But you have to understand, this wasn't him being rude or trying to dismiss him. It was a completely honest warning. Al-Khidr knew that his actions, guided by this hidden knowledge, were going to look bizarre, maybe even wrong from the outside. Watching all that happen without knowing the reason why would be an enormous test for anyone.
But Musa, being so determined, makes his promise. He says he'll be patient, but listen to that key phrase he adds, "if Allah wills." It shows he's all in, but he also knows that true patience is a gift from God. He promises to be completely obedient to his new teacher.
And then we get to it. The one, single, non-negotiable rule for this whole journey. Al-Khidr says, "Okay, you can come with me, but on one condition. You are not allowed to ask me about anything I do until I, myself, bring it up." That's it. That's the entire agreement, the core of their covenant.
So why such a strict rule? Well, it's actually a brilliant teaching method. It's designed to force Musa to put his own judgment, which is based on what he can see, on pause. It forces him to develop absolute trust and to stop judging based on outward appearances. The wisdom will be revealed, but only at the perfect moment. So the core lesson of the journey isn't a factor in action. It's learning patience when you're faced with something you just don't understand.
And that right there sets the stage for all the dramatic events that are about to unfold. Their whole time together is built on this one rule: don't question, just observe and trust. And it leaves us with a pretty powerful question for our own lives, doesn't it? The very first rule of this profound education was to stop asking questions. So what could we learn in our own journeys if we choose to truly listen before we rush to judge?